Spider-Man is one of the most well-known comic book characters, with Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man being the most popular one, making the Spider-Man character very well known. Most live-action adaptations of superhero movies have been really good, but they really haven't felt like a good representation of comics. They are mostly their own story. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a good example of a movie that feels exactly like a comic book. Not only is this movie a really good movie, but it's also a really good comic book movie. This may be because of the use of animation. This movie couldn't have worked as live action. There's so much creativity that animation allows, and having animation used in this movie for the Spider-Man character is already a big thing. Spider-Man is already a cartoony character and full of positivity, so choosing the Spider-Man character in this animated style works excellent and lets the animators express Spider-Man in a more easier way. Just look at this shot right here. You can tell that Miles is happy just by the way they animated his eyes. Point being that this movie could not have worked in live action. We would have just have gotten another Homecoming. Even still, Spider-Man Homecoming has a lot of animation in it. Just look at the Tom Holland Spider-Man costume. It's my favorite one because of how expressive it is. Now take Tom Holland's costume and multiply it by 100 and you get Spider-Verse. By properly focusing on animation, Spider-Verse is able to express the story in a whole better way, and this is only helped by the other Spideys, with some of them even having a whole different art style, and each Spidey is represented by their color style. This is why Spider-Verse will never work in live action, because of all these creative animation styles and techniques. I haven't even gotten to the effects in the background. Animation is the only way this masterpiece could be achieved. This opened my eyes to other animated superhero movies, and after a while, I started asking, would superhero movies be better animated? Growing up with both live action and animated superhero movies, I've grown to love them both. But as time has gone on and superhero movies have changed, I've noticed that live action has been becoming more animated. Take Avengers Infinity War. We literally follow a testicle-chinned CGI dude for the whole movie, or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Surprisingly enough, that movie has a lot of CGI in it. Or most recently, the Shang-Chi movie, where the whole movie is about martial arts, but yeah, at the end we get this big CGI monster. My point is, the animation is used more and more. That may be because of two reasons. One, technology keeps improving and animation is easier to do, or number two, and this is what I like to believe, but film directors are starting to realize that in order to represent a cartoon, you have to make a cartoon. And I got this idea just because of Spider-Verse. If all superhero movies from this point onward were animated in the same style as Spider-Verse, I would be happy by that. As long as you do it right though. Spider-Verse did it right. And I've only been talking about the art. I haven't talked about the creative techniques that make Spider-Verse look like a comic. The first and most obvious effect is the glitch effect. The effect is mostly used to set up the tone of the multiverse, to show that this movie is going to be wacky and different, as well as using the glitch effect in several creative ways. Like for example, in the scene where Miles gets overwhelmed with everybody, we can see how Miles gets more stressed and the background gets more glitchier and more glitchy. So that is a creative way of using the effect. Another effect that is used is text bubbles. These are cool because not only does it make it resemble a comic, but it's also a good way to show expressions. Like when you see text going down when Miles falls, then after in the movie when Miles gets a grip on his powers and the text follows him up, stuff like that makes the movie all the more satisfying. But my favorite effect they use is the comic effect. What I mean is when the screen pauses and the art changes styles to make it resemble a comic book, or when the scenes are paneled to resemble a comic and those scenes go in the same pace as you would read a comic book. Just oh my god man, like you have to admit that is so creatively genius. Stuff like that is so cool. It really makes you feel like you are watching an animated comic, and that is what this movie is. It's an animated comic. It's all so good. As I mentioned before, the different art styles make this movie unique, by having 2D animation connect so nicely with the 3D animation. But the animation that was used with Penny and Piggy Parker was really well made, with both looking like 3D characters, but they really are actually 2D. Makes you really wonder how long this movie must have taken. Speaking of 3D, something that a lot of people have criticized is the 3D-like effect, like some of the colors are a little bit separated. I personally don't mind this effect, but I do get why people say it's a little weird. Overall, you can really tell that this movie has a lot going on for it. You can really tell that the creators put so much love and care to this movie. I was able to point out a lot of details from the movie, but there's still a lot of things that I left out, not to mention the amazing story. This movie just has a special place in my heart. Each time that I watch it, it gets better, and watching this movie with the film lens on gave me an even more appreciation for this movie. I learned so much from this movie, and it gave me so much inspiration to keep doing what I love, which is film. So I don't care if this video is short, it does bad, it doesn't get any views. At the end of the day, I learned so much. So thank you, the creators of Spider-Verse, for making this masterpiece, and thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch me. It truly means a lot to me. So thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.